What up? It's Famicom again. Today I wanted to go through another Garo issue flip through. This time we've got one from 1968, December, the 54th issue in Garo, with a cover page by Shirato Sanpei. Of course, at this moment, Kamui-den is around 4 years old. It started in 1964, and of course, with every Garo issue, you're going to have a lot of variety, a lot of stories in any issue you choose. And most notably, in this issue here, we have the debut of Tsuge Tadao. So let's just get started. So here's the cover by Shirato. And when you open it up, here are the table of contents. We've got Kamui-den, a short Mizuki work, Nagashima Shinji, Takita Yuu, Hayashi, Sasaki Maki, Susumu Katsumata, Tsuge Tadao, and yeah. So, starting things off, it's Kamui-den chapter 45. And just a quick reminder again, I said this probably in another video already, but Drawn Quarterly are releasing an English version of this. 10 volumes, I believe, starting from 2024. So look out for that. Very monumental for alternative manga and Garo manga in the English publishing side of things for manga. So yeah. So since it's chapter 45, don't really know much about what's going on. So I'll just do a flip through of the pages. But yeah, super excited for Kamui-den to finally come into English translation. I seriously love the art style of Shirato. He was helped by, of course, Akame Pro, which is his like production team, assistants, and all of that in creating Kamui-den. But I still have read some other works by him, like one-shots in Garo, but just a couple here and there. Nothing substantial from him yet in terms of my reading journey. So I'm looking to start that off with Kamui-den when it does come out in English. So let me just pick this up a little bit. And yeah, usually the Kamui-den chapters are quite long, like 70 or so pages in each of the Garo issues. Because of course, I mean, it was the main reason why Garo was founded in the first place. So, of course, deserves a very big spotlight put on it. Every single Kamui-den chapter always comes first. Whatever Garo issue it is in, it always comes first. It's the very first story in each issue, and it's usually a dedicated, like, a couple of 70, 80 pages for it. Here's this statue in question on the front cover. Not entirely sure what it's supposed to mean, if it's symbolic. It's probably symbolic. But I love when Shirato draws like rain. Stuff happening in the rain and the wind. A lot of motion in his panels. It's very dynamic. So here we've got like a flood or something, or very high winds. And yep, this is the ending page of chapter 45 here. It says here when it was created, August 8th, 1968. And we've got a big page of, looks like some people are stranded on like in a flood. Oh yep, got some more people down here. And yeah, that is the end of that Kamui-den chapter. Always a pleasure to flick through them. So the first story that we have is called Ginnagashi by Takita Yuu. And I searched this up, but this term is supposed to mean like, oh, it's used to describe someone that is like, all talk. They are like they emanate style, or like they're very superficial, right? On the outside, they're very arrogant and all that, and in the inside, They don't really have any substance, that sort of thing. Because the story essentially follows a little boy who meets a man. This man over here on the left. This man seems to be quite rich, and that's the boy there. Seems to be quite rich, you know. Gives the boy a couple of gifts here and there later in the story. So the boy has very deep respect for him. There you go. He sees the man with women all the time, gives him a little coin as a gift. And so, yeah, the boy, he respects the man, looks up to him, but his grandma tells him to be careful. You know, she calls him Ginnagashi. And we can see why later on, because the boy follows him, looking to, you know, maybe get another gift or so. Some more things pass on, blah, blah, blah. I'll just skip to the part where the boy peeks in from the window and sees the man by himself, drinking himself away because he's obsessed over a woman. Here he is, drunk as hell, being very emotional over this woman here. And it just dawns on this boy that, oh, this man isn't as, you know, isn't what I thought he was. And so his respect is pretty much going out the window. So yeah, Takita Yuu, I do want to talk about him a little bit. Let me just get a bookmark real quick. I've read a couple of, actually quite a lot of one-shots from Takita Yuu throughout all of the Garo issues that I've read. And to be honest, he's not my favorite mangaka in Garo. He does very whimsical stories, and I do like his art style, but the stories themselves, they don't really strike me as interesting, or they don't capture my attention too much. But what I have here is an art book titled like Back Alley Serenade by Takita. And it's an art book with like a comic inside as well. But I got this from Sean at Japan Book Hunter quite a while ago, actually, a couple months ago. This one was a really old. Yeah, I got it a couple months ago. I haven't touched it actually for at all, so might as well look through it now. But this art book has, sorry, this art book has quite a number of color pages, and despite not liking his manga and his actual stories too much, I love the his art style, especially his color pages. So I'll just pull this up here for anyone who's interested. Table of contents. Some more stuff, just real quick. And let's get into the actual art. But yeah, I did a little flip through of this in my own time, and seriously love the way, like, his lines. I don't know how to describe it. This kind of looks like watercolor a little bit. Not too entirely sure, but a lot of his works are based on, you know, the everyday children, families, you know, different women, everyday Japan, post-war Japan. You can see the amount of detail that there is in line work in his artwork. A lot of great stuff in here. Very glad I bought this art book. Just been a little bit neglected on my shelf. But yeah, Takita Yuu also has a special issue in Garo. So I'm not sure when it was released, but yes, there is a special issue in Garo where the entire issue has just his stories, just his manga. I don't have that at the moment. But yeah, I'll just flick through a couple more. A lot of color pages here, but also at the back, So we've got like technically some manga as well, some stories. I just really love the color in this. Yeah, so if I quickly flick through the back, we now got some black and white with a single tone to it, red as well. Love the line work in that one. This one too. Amazing stuff. And at the very back, there is like a manga. Haven't read it yet, of course, but here's a quick flip through of it. But yeah, Back Alley Serenade. Really good art book. I believe there is also like another by the same like publisher of this art book. There is another art book they put out for Takita as well. I don't know the name of it, but I believe it's like red. It's got a similar layout, but I think it's red. So yeah, that was the Takita Yuu story. Love his art style. Not as drawn to his storytelling, but that's just my personal preference. So moving on, we've got the next story by Nagashima Shinji, titled Furuya no Mori. So this here is like a visual adaptation of the original folktale, Japanese folktale by the same name. Um, and essentially, what it is, it's like an origin story to why the Japanese like red macaque looks the way it does, and also it's like a big pun on it as well. So what we open up with is a thief who, thinks he's the greatest thief in Japan, blah blah blah, who has his eyes set on this little house on a farm. And we also have a wolf having their eyes set on that same farmhouse. The reason why is because they both want to rob the house and take the horse. And so while it rains, the wolf chooses his hiding spot. The thief sits on the roof beams, and they wait. So while they wait, we pan over to the family inside. So it's a child and their parents, the mom and the dad, or maybe grandparents, not too entirely sure. But they're just making food, and a conversation comes up where they start discussing, oh, what is the scariest thing um, what is the scariest thing uh, for well, just in general, and one of them say, oh, the scariest thing is a thief, which makes the thief very proud. And then the grandpa goes, no, scariest thing is a wolf, which makes the wolf very proud. But he changes his mind and says that, oh, it's actually none of those. It's actually the Furuya no Mori, which is supposed to be like what it's supposed to mean is like a leak in an old house. So obviously for them, living in a house like that, if it rains and water gets into the house, it's very bad for them. So the grandpa is pretty much saying that, oh, having a leak in their house while it's raining is the scariest thing of all. But the thief and the wolf, they misunderstand and think, oh, this mysterious Furuya no Mori, what is that? Is that there's something that is scarier than them? What could it be? So they're misunderstanding it. And so the rain continues to fall, and it so happens that the leak does appear. And they hear the shouting, oh, we've got a leak in the house, we've got a leak in the house. Furuya no Mori ga kita. But the wolf and the thief, they of course don't know what a Furuya no Mori is, and they don't know that the family are talking about a leak in the house, so they both get scared, fall on top of each other, and start bolting out of the house in fear. So both of them get tangled with each other. The thief manages to, as they're riding out, gets hit by a branch, and he finds himself stuck in the inside a tree, the wolf goes back to the forest and talks to all of the other animals there and says, "Oh, the Furuya no Mori," tells them about the Furuya no Mori, but he gets the macaque, Japanese macaque, to investigate because he believes that the Furuya has chased them all the way to the forest or something like that. And here, the Japanese macaque has a very, very long tail, which, if you know monkeys, they don't really have that long of a tail to this extent. And so the tail goes down, and the thief seizes the opportunity to climb up and escape from the tree trunk. Keeps going up and up, and he manages to get out, but severs the tail of the monkey, and that is why the story ends with, that is why the Japanese macaque has a short tail and a red butt, because of the the thief using the tail as a rope and severing it. So we come back to the peaceful farmhouse with the grandparents and the child, and they live happily ever after, probably. But yeah, you can actually find, I'll put it in the description in the notes as well, like an English translation to the original Japanese folktale, and it will contextualize a lot of things too. So yeah, it's a lot of this, like, Nagashima's Dansan collection are adaptations, visual adaptations of folktales, and a lot of them are like my favorites as well from his body of works. So yeah, that was Nagashima Shinji. Now we move on to Tsuge Tadao's debut work. So again, this is 1968. He debuted in 1968 in December with the story Atop a Hill, Vincent Van Gogh, or like Vincent Van Gogh on Top of a Hill. So this was translated into English. This story is a part of, let me just quickly pull up, a part of the Trash Market collection by Drawn In Quarterly. So if I just open it up, yep, here's the official English title, Up on the Hilltop, Vincent Van Gogh. And as you can see here, Garo, December 1968, which is this issue right here. So yeah, you can read this in English. You just have to find Trash Market, which I'm not sure if it's hard to find now or not. But yeah. So yeah, debut work. Although I was reading like the essay from The Swamp, Tsuge Yoshiharu's English release, and in the essay they were talking about how one of Tsuge Yoshiharu's stories. I'll just quickly take that out right now, actually, because it is related to Tadao. So here's The Swamp, another Drawn In Quarterly release I was talking about. Here there is a story titled Handcuffs. Handcuffs, December 1966. So this was a Kashihon story, but in the essay at the back, it was pretty much talking about how Handcuffs was a story idea that was actually made by Tadao, not Yoshiharu. And Yoshiharu sort of saw the potential in Tadao at the time, and he used that idea, or like he pretty much Tadao helped him to create this story. So this is technically the unofficial debut of Tsuge Tadao by helping his brother create this sort of story about a criminal versus a detective, that sort of thing. Yeah, unofficial debut, but his official debut is in this issue here. So it's really cool, having this issue in hand, knowing that, this is the very first time readers were exposed to anything by Tadao. And yeah, so this story was originally written by Tadao as it was just like a written story, like a short story, but he adapted it into a manga when I think it was maybe someone asked him to join Garo, and he used the story he had created, I'm not sure when, and adapted it into this manga here. So it essentially follows a like a student who is quite obsessed with the life of Vincent van Gogh. He has a book on it. He's reading it, and his friend visits him and tells him about all of the current affairs at that time. He's a part of the student like movements, the protests, talking about unions and all that type of stuff. So very contextually influenced this story. And yeah, throughout the story, it's like a parallel between the artist and Vincent van Gogh. He's obsessed with him, and he sort of identifies with Van Gogh. Is my interpretation of it. I'm not too certain on like the meaning or the purpose behind this story. A little bit of an enigma for me, but yeah, I do sort of think that there is some parallel between Van Gogh, because it always goes back and forth between Van Gogh and like what's happening with the student. So yeah, parallel. This is like a scene with in like the workplace, issues about union and all that type of stuff. But yeah, very interesting to see this as his debut. It's not really my favorite title story, to be honest. Um, I've read Trash Market. I've read Slum Wolf. Definitely Slum Wolf is my favorite collection of stories so far. A lot of the stories there um, are my favorites. But yeah, I'll just quickly show the what it looks like in English as well, just briefly. Yeah, of course, it starts off with the first story here too. So this is just what it looks like in Trash Market as well, except from reading from left to right instead of right to left. Yeah, this is also translated by Ryan Holmberg, and there's a translation of a Tadao interview and an essay as well. And yeah, that's the debut of Tsuge Tadao. So moving on, we're nearing the end of the issue here. Got a couple more stories. This one's quite an interesting one. This is an untitled work by Sasaki Maki, who I'm not entirely sure when he debuted in Garo, but pretty much the entire story are like traced media, so like maybe from like newspapers, posters, or anything. All of them have speech bubbles, but no words, no dialogue. And Ryan Holmberg did an essay, not on this specifically, but he did an essay on Sasaki Maki and his whole nonsense style to his manga. And to be honest, I didn't really understand a lot of it. And it is contextually relevant to all the student movements that were happening at that time as well. So I do recommend like for a deeper dive into the meaning behind this story, to dive into that essay, because it's actually a two-part thing, because this untitled work has all of the speech bubbles blanked out except for a couple of things. Holmberg makes a comment here, like the only dialogue shown is with like a group of students or protesters asking for like a discussion, let's talk, that sort of thing, referring to settling things with reference to like the political issues at that time. But this member here responds with like no dialogues. It's just like, I guess it's criticizing what was happening at that time. And in the essay as well, it did say that Sasaki was ambivalent towards the protests, like he wasn't actually participating in them, but he didn't not support it either. So a lot of it does come out in his manga as well, because I will actually showcase another Garo issue where that is continued. It's the next one, the issue after this. So just 1 second, because it is still related. So this is issue 55, right? So that's 54, 55, 1969, January, cover by Shirato Sanpei. And I'm not going to go through like a full flip through of this, but here's just a table of contents. I need to look at this as well. Sasaki Maki is 197. Okay. So if I go down to 197, here we go. This is I think it's titled Vietnam Debate. The Vietnam Debate is a chapter of this story. And it's pretty much the same thing, except all of the speech bubbles are filled with, it's not dialogue, filled with like different terms like war, destruction, I don't know, poverty, that sort of thing. And so all of this is discussed in Holmberg's essay. Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't really understand it too much, so I wish I could give like an explanation of it, but it's a lot more complex since it is based on the idea of nonsense in manga, anti-manga, that sort of thing. But yeah, I will put a link in the description. You can find it on Comics Journal as well. A link in the description to the essay that Holmberg had written. So there you go. The Vietnam Debate is a continuation of that untitled work by Sasaki Maki. So there you go. Yeah, now we'll move on. Of course, Susumu Katsumata usually has like these yonkoma manga as well, which not my thing, to be honest. It's too short for me, but I'll do a flick through of them anyways. I prefer his actual, full-blown stories, but yeah, he does have a lot of these short manga strips as well. So yeah, now we move on to Hayashi Seiichi, a story that is titled The Rose Emblem, which I'm just checking right now. I think is this the last part? Middle part? This might be the middle chapter. So the Rose Emblem story is, I believe, 3 chapters split over 3 different Garo issues. I think this is the middle chapter. I am a little bit confused with this story. So I can't say I understand it fully, but it has something to do with this man and this boy's family. There's some sort of feud, or he used to be a Yakuza, I think, or like a gang member. And something to do with the man and the boy's father having some sort of conflict. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't really understand this too much, so I can't give my insights into the story. But just the art itself is crazy good. I love like the contrast between the very sort of pop art feel of the man and like the backgrounds as well. Very bold, like very dark tones, and the artwork as well. So yeah, great art. It's like looking at the contrast between this very cartoony boy and the detailed train here. It's so sick. Yeah, that is Rose Emblem. I believe that there is the father of the boy. But gotta love me some Hayashi. Everyone should, of course, know Hayashi and enjoy Hayashi. He pretty much opened up Gekiga for me and my love for Gekiga. But yeah, that was Hayashi. And last but not least is just a Mizuki Shigeru story. I believe it's the Gegege no Kitaro. I believe this is a part of. I've seen this little eyeball thing before, but yeah. I haven't read the Kitaro series before. I think when I was like younger, a couple of years ago, whenever that anime adaptation came out for Kitaro, I watched like a couple of episodes, but I didn't know who Mizuki was and why he was so like famous. I watched it without context, and it was fine. I don't remember much of it, so I probably do need to go back and check that out. But yeah, don't really know too much about Kitaro, but love his artworks as per usual. A lot of yokai stuff. I recently got an art book, not an art book, sorry, like a yokai encyclopedia as well by Mizuki. But yeah, to be continued. The story there, and that is the end of the Garo issue. But before I end the video off, I'll quickly show off. I did show off this book before already in another video, but you know, why not pull it up for convenience sake for anyone watching this video who wants to see more Mizuki. This is the Mizuki Shigeru Yokai Encyclopedia. Well, one of the encyclopedias. It's a black and white one, and it's pretty much every page is a different entry of a different yokai. Very, very detailed drawings of yokai. I haven't started looking at this yet, but eventually I do want to start reading this. But yeah, always love his art style. Extremely detailed yokai and backgrounds, contrasted against the very cartoony faces of his characters. But yeah, that is the Mizuki Shigeru Yokai Encyclopedia. But that is the end of this flick through for the 1968 December issue of Garo. Quite stacked as usual. A lot of issues are stacked, anyways. That's your Takita Yuu artbook. Went through the swamp as well. Trash market. This other. I might do another video on this too. Why not? We'll see. And Mizuki Shigeru Yokai Encyclopedia. So quite a number of books that were in conjunction to today's Garo issue as well. But yeah, hope you enjoy this video. Hope this puts more people onto Garo. Even if you don't read Japanese, just having one issue is amazing. Especially this one's cool, knowing that, you know, Tadao debuted in this issue. But yeah, hope you enjoy this video. I'll be back for more as per usual. So, see ya.